Our
Thank you.
next panelist is Kim Moy, who has developed the Thrive as a Caregiver course. Throughout her caregiving journey, Kim has focused on maintaining a strong relationship with her husband, ensuring he remains central in their lives while also recognizing the importance of self-care. Kim, could you please introduce yourself and share some of the strategies from your Thrive as a Caregiver course that have helped caregivers build resilience and prevent burnout? And how do you suggest caregivers can balance self-care with the demands of caregiving?
Hi, my name's Kim Moy, and my husband has had ME/CFS for over 30 years. When we first met, his ME/CFS was not that bad, meaning that we could still go salsa dancing, but we just couldn't dance every song that we wanted to. And we could have a career, we had 2 kids. However, his ME/CFS unfortunately took a nosedive about a dozen years ago, and he's been, I would say, in severe kind of classification now. He spends most of his time in bed at this time. I started the ME/CFS Partner Caregiver Support Group affiliated with ME Action about 6 years ago, and it became so rewarding for me to meet other fellow caregivers like myself that I actually left my job about 2 years ago, and I am now spending most of my time with Caregiver Wisdom, which I launched with intention of helping support other caregivers. I'm happy to be here today with all of you. I've been asked to answer the question about how do we avoid burnout? How do we strengthen our resilience? And we're in it for a marathon with this particular illness, for better or for worse. So I believe there are 3 steps, 3 strategies to strengthen your resilience as caregivers. The first is to really make sure that you're taking care of yourself. If you burn out, you're no good to anyone. And I've been there actually. I have been burnt out and I was no fun to be around and I couldn't really solve problems very well. So that's the first strategy. Make sure that you are taking care of yourself. As caregivers, we oftentimes feel guilty for taking time for ourselves, but actually, I believe it's part of your job description as a caregiver to make sure that you can sustain yourself. And so you can actually be a good caregiver. And so the second strategy is to empower yourself. And what I mean by empowering myself, well, I'll go into a little bit more detail what that means, but it can mean several things. And the third strategy is to connect with the community. So I'll go a little bit into more detail about self-care and give you some real life examples in hopes that you can take a few tactics and techniques that I've learned over the years. The first thing I wanted to share with you is the concept of a morning ritual. And that's where my coach has taught me to take 10 minutes every morning before you do stuff for other people, 10 minutes for yourself. And so that may be just waking up in the morning and then doing a few yoga stretches, maybe for 10 minutes, or meditating, or enjoying a quiet cup of tea, going out for a quick walk, getting a breath of fresh air before you do any household chores or caregiving chores. Once you set that intention, it really gives you the fuel for the rest of the day and sets a really nice tone. The second tip that I'd love to share with you is doing a good jobs list at night. So you have your morning ritual, then you have your evening kind of before you go to sleep ritual. And that is, again, to do a good jobs list. The good jobs list is you writing down maybe 5 things that you're proud of doing for that day. A lot of caregiving work is invisible work. It's behind the scenes work. It's calling the doctor's office, getting the prescriptions, all of those things. And lots of times it's invisible and lots of times it's not acknowledged by your loved one or other people. You're just doing it as part of your job as a caregiver. Well, the way you can make it visible and the way you can have some acknowledgement is to acknowledge it yourself in the Good Jobs Journal. I found that practice, quite frankly, very transformational for my own journey. So I just wanted to make sure to share that with you here today. And then the second Strategy again is empowering yourself, and empowering yourself can mean a lot of different things. For me, it can mean everything from getting more help and not you taking everything on yourself. We talk about really, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it certainly takes a village to also caregive someone with such a debilitating illness. It should not be just you, okay? Even though you feel like you're fully capable, and I know you all are, it's just a lot to do for one person. So get a team of people. It could be family members, friends, volunteers, paid help. So if you need help with that, that's something that I'm working on putting together a blog post on for Caregiver Wisdom, my website. I would also mention it can also mean things like setting boundaries with yourself as well as with your loved one or coworkers or family members. That is also part of empowering yourself. I would also say learning how to navigate different kinds of systems, whether it's the medical system, the legal system, applying for disability. You need to empower yourself with a lot of information. Quite frankly, a lot of information you never thought you would have to learn and you don't really want to learn, but here you are. So the more you can empower yourself with this stuff, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. There are other peoples who have walked this path before you. That's part of the reason why I started Caregiver Wisdom, to share what I've learned over the past 20 plus years. I've been a caregiver for my husband and also my elderly parents. You don't need to walk this path alone. Please do not. It is a lonely path, and we are here to support you. The third thing I wanted to mention as a strategy, again, is connecting with the community. Again, I've been leading one of two support groups with ME Action that is focused on caregivers, and we're here for you. We would love to have you come and attend one of our Zoom meetings just to connect and not feel so lonely, and perhaps get some words of advice, or just being there with each other is really powerful. Um, there's also other Facebook groups out there, as well as I believe some on Discord. So there's a lot of support out there that I really encourage you to seek out. I have heard from other caregivers who said they were not comfortable being on social media or had no desire to join social media. So I actually launched my own online community for chronic illness caregivers that's not on social media. So if you're interested in joining that, please reach out to me as well. One of the topics I've been also asked to speak about is ambiguous loss. This is a really important topic to me. Once I discovered this concept, it just resonated so deeply with me. I felt like, oh, that's what I've been feeling this whole entire time. And so, what is ambiguous loss? It's basically a unique type of grief where the person that you love is still alive. They're still physically there, but there's something else about them that has changed. So they may be psychologically absent, or they've been altered by, in this case, a chronic illness. So it really results in a profound sense of loss and grief for both the person who is ill as well as their family members and you as the caregiver. So really, what do you do once you know about this concept? Okay, it's great to feel like, oh, now I know how I've been feeling. What do you do? How do you deal and cope with this? What Pauline Boss, who actually coined this term, what she recommends doing is to, one, acknowledge the loss, acknowledge the grief, and two, to really carry on and live the best life you can and enjoy the life you have that still remains. It's critical to be able to do both. And you may need to fluctuate between the two. In any given day, I kind of switch back and forth, and that's fine. That is really normal. So you may ask, well, how do I do that? Easier said than done, right? Well, there are about a dozen strategies that you can take on to deal with this. I'd like to share a few of my favorite ones, maybe my top three. The first is to let go of what you cannot control and to focus on what you can control. So I can't control that my husband's in bed and in constant pain and is constantly just fatigued, cannot sleep. And even if he sleeps, he is not well rested. I can't personally control that. What can I control? I can control, being there for him. I can control, finding doctors, right? I can control how I react. I can control, my mindset and like, yes, I'm going to help support him as much as possible, but I can't control some other things. So focus on what you can control, let go of what you can't. The second strategy is to redefine your identity. So I actually practice Zen Buddhism, and my Zen teachers talk about non attachment. And the idea is if you attach to something that you can't have or attach to something that used to be, you can't move forward. You're frozen and you're just stuck. So really the idea is to redefine yourself and don't be so attached to, oh, the way how things used to be. Um, The third strategy is to practice both and or thinking. I'm sorry, both and thinking. Um, so this means balancing two different ideas at the same time. So an example might be, I am a caregiver and I need care as well. I can take care of both him and myself. I am both sad at my loved one's illness, and I could be really happy that we get to enjoy a sunset together today. So, those are some examples. There's a lot more to say about ambiguous loss. I talk about it in, hour and a half long support group meetings that I lead. I've also written a blog post on it. So if you'd like to read a little bit more about that, I invite you to come to caregiverwisdom.net and you can check out my blog post there. Another question I've been asked is how do we maintain hope in light of all of the difficulties and the challenges that our loved ones and we as caregivers face? And in the light of not knowing if there will ever be a cure or not knowing, how they're going to be, how few answers there are really. First off, I want to say that there's a lot more research being done than ever before. So I'm really encouraged by that. And thanks to groups like Bateman Horn doing the research. So really, it's so hopeful there. I'd also say that, Solve ME and ME Action they're both really wonderful organizations who are doing a lot of advocacy work to help fund research. So I encourage you to participate and volunteer, and it's really not that hard. I was a little intimidated to do it myself, but I ended up doing it, and I was so happy to do so, to contribute your voice. And if can at all possible have the financial means to donate, I encourage you to donate as well to help with those causes. There's a lot of more movement afoot right now than ever before. In addition, I wanted to share a few things that my Zen teachers have taught me because over the past few years, I've learned more about these concepts that have really helped me as a caregiver to navigate these really big challenges. Again, one of those concepts is non attachment, to not get attached to what used to be, what you hoped it would be, what you thought your life would be like. Um, all of life is constantly changing. So the thing is, if we then attach to something to how things used to be or how we want them to be, it's not reality, right? It's very human, but it's going to create suffering on your part when you can't have the thing that you want or how you thought it would be. So, letting go and being able to accept things how they really are, and then still moving forward and living the best life you can, given the current situation, is something that I've embraced myself. and has helped me quite a bit. After all, hopefully we can all feel that we can experience beauty, hope, connection, and love. And I just briefly in closing want to say that I don't wish this illness on anyone or having to be put in this situation of caregiving for someone with this really terrible illness. That said, I do appreciate that I have learned a lot, and I feel like I have been going on a personal development journey, and I really do appreciate those learnings, those lessons I'm learning, and I feel so much stronger for it. And really, just right now, I really want to support others who are going through this horrible situation, and we can get it through it better together. So, if you're interested in attending a support group, reading blog posts, being part of my course, any of that kind of stuff, would really welcome you to come to visit my website, and you can sign up for the newsletter. So, thanks very much.
Thank you.